Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170. The Answer, filling in for the big guy, Craig Sewing tonight. We hope you enjoy the show. If you ever want to listen to past episodes of the show, you have any questions for myself or any of the guests, visit whisselwednesdays.com, WHISSEL Wednesdays.com, or you can text or call us 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. We've got a couple of boys here from Whissel Realty, Bryan Koci, media manager, Joel Yinger, executive assistant, and of course, my co-host, Mr. Jason Hall, Team Home Loans.
How come only you get a ding? I want a ding.
You know what? You can ding all you want there. You're a ding-a-ling.
I love it. So before the break, Jason, you'd mentioned, just said the words OJ, which kind of triggered a reaction. Who has been watching the reality, or I don't know what you call the show, but let's just call it the show that kind of goes back and retells the story of the whole OJ
So
Simpson
my wife
trial.
and I have been watching it. We've DVR'd it. We watched last night's episode there that aired on Tuesday nights. We actually DVR'd, caught up to that because we'd watched episode 5, I think, the night before. So I think this was episode 6, maybe 5 and 6, 6, 7. I guess it's a 10-episode show, but it's very entertaining. Everybody knows the outcome, of course, what happens. Mm-hmm. Since I'm a little bit older than you guys, I remember exactly where I was.
Little?
You know,
Come on now,
I'm
Jason.
not that much
Come on,
older.
Jason.
All right, 12, 13 years. Some of you guys maybe 20. But I remember exactly
25.
where I was when the chase was going on. I remember exactly. I was right next door here at Union Bank, and literally there was no clients that came in that day. Right now, the banks aren't as busy as they once were, but 20 years ago, we had 20, 30 people in the branch at all times. It seems like all of us surrounded around that TV when he was, found not guilty. And so to watch the show, now you're seeing behind the scenes, and my wife's like, I don't remember that. Because you'd heard certain stuff, them going on, this happening, but to dive in and see the stuff, it's real intriguing. Everybody I've talked to really enjoys the show, but I can't think of one person who's happy with how the show has portrayed them, right? Nobody is going to be excited and be like, so if they're watching, a lot of them have passed on, but if they're watching or their family, they're all pissed. Everybody's been portrayed kind of like a goofball. So how about you guys?
They definitely portrayed Marcia Clark as a chain smoker. That is very abundantly clear that woman liked to smoke.
She definitely did, and that's why they, she was smoking. She was definitely stressing out. We knew a little bit about her kids and her problem with her ex-husband, but it definitely comes out a little bit more in the show. And I think they just did a good job of saying she was just over her head and not prepared for this, and this was really the trial of the century, and no one knew what to expect. And then, of course, how they worked the race card into it. We all kind of knew that was going to happen, but kind of to see that come through from the defense side, how we're going to use it, how we're going to take advantage of this situation when they do this. Very interesting. Have you seen it at all? Any of you guys seen it?
Nope.
No, I haven't either.
You, Kyle?
Of course.
All right.
I love this stuff.
All right.
I've been very engaged in it, and the thing is, I wish that it was that we knew that everything that they're showing is what actually happened. That's the hard part.
Right. There's still
they're going based off stories.
Right.
But I think they're doing an amazing job, and I'm completely engaged in the show.
I mean, now the actors and actresses are so good, you think they're the people they're playing.
Right.
Right? That they're great actors.
Yeah.
When you literally, everybody now is like, that's OJ, Cuba Gooding Jr., right?
Right.
The gal playing Marcia, that's her. If you were to see him right now live, you would be like, hey, Marcia. I mean, they really
Yeah, the quality of the show, the quality of the acting, the drama, the suspense, it's phenomenal. Like, my wife and I are completely engaged in it. We are enjoying it. It's been just crazy to watch and to relive. And, that was a huge ordeal. I mean, that was everything. So it's kind of cool to get to watch that, hear about the story, see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, which some of it is true, some of it not true. But it's just been a trip, and it's kind of has you looking at it in a different light than when the actual trial was going on, because the trial was so long that none of us could really keep up on the day-to-day stuff. And what's cool is they're just kind of showing the more important moments in it as opposed to the entire thing, which I have no patience for something that takes months to go through.
Have you watched it, Paul?
I have not watched it. I'm going to wait until it's over. I'm going to binge watch it. I've heard really good things about it. But at the same time, they're taking 18 months to 2 years of drama and compressing it down into 10 episodes.
Right.
So some of it's got to be a little bit accelerated. Some stuff's got to be out of order. They do have to take some typical Hollywood liberties. But from everything I've heard, they're doing a really good job with it.
Yeah, I mean, last night's episode was just talking all about how they discredited all of the cops involved, Furman and the other two guys, and how they just made them look like fools. And I think that was one of the number one reasons why the jury had no choice but to acquit him, is because the cops, who should have been the most credible witnesses in the entire thing, just got destroyed by the defense. And with good reason. The cops made a lot of mistakes that left too much doubt in the jurors' minds, and as a result, you can't convict a man of murder unless it's beyond the shadow of a doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt. You can't convict a man.
But is there anybody who doesn't think he killed those two poor people?
Beyond a reasonable doubt.
I mean,
that's why he lost the civil case.
Exactly.
Yep.
But didn't lose the criminal case.
If I was on the jury, like the prosecution, Marsha Clark, James Harden, they did such a
Not James Harden. You're mixing your sports.
Christopher Darden. Yeah. Sorry. I'm in sports mode. Christopher Darden. I'm sorry. They did such a bad job with the defense that they were just overmatched by Robert Kardashian, Robert Shapiro, and the other defense team. That there was no way to convict him. Like as much as I know he's guilty, I would have had to vote to acquit if I was on that jury because it was not beyond a reasonable doubt. They absolutely can.
But the key word there's reasonable. Is there true reasonable doubt? Do you guys really have reasonable doubt, or did they just put enough doubt in your mind?
Well, that's where people argue. That's the advantage that the defense has with in our criminal justice system is the preponderance of the evidence has to be on the prosecution, and they botched it. They did not do a good
Blood's
job.
On the outside of the Bronco. Blood's in the Bronco. It's all over his house. It's crazy. This guy got off. Flat out.
That's crazy.
Crazy. I still cannot believe. But justice is served. He's sitting in jail now.
He is sitting there. Yep. He's sitting right there in jail. So, again, you're listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170, The Answer. So, there has been some new news. Crazy coincidence that this just happens to come up while the show is airing and all the eyeballs are back on the case. So, apparently, Paul, do you have the whole story on this?
Yeah. So apparently, when they were demolishing the house that OJ owned, one of the construction workers found a bloody knife buried somewhere in the backyard, and no one's happier than FX right now.
I know that's just.
And then apparently they walked it over to like an off-duty police officer, who took a look at it and took it home. And apparently, it's been at his house for years.
Yeah, they said they kept it in his like tool box or something like that, and it's been sitting there for a while.
Which is insane. Like, that person should go to jail.
And then, when he was retired, he was telling some of his people, like, hey, this is kind of what happened. They were like, that might be something you might want to, like, turn in. And now it's come up. So what's come up from it?
Nothing so far. Like, they're still, like, sorting through it all. Like, it's a crazy thing. Like, apparently this construction worker found it, like, 2 years ago. So, like, everybody's just kind of, like, scrambling right now.
They said it's a 2-week period for the forensic analysis to get back so they can, like, check out everything, and it's going to be, like, 2 weeks before they get the answer.
But being that it was underground, the probability of finding any kind of DNA on it is slim to none. And even if they find DNA on it...
Nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you could do because of double jeopardy.
Yeah,
OJ can come out and say, I did it, right?
Absolutely.
I did it, and...
Well, he did, but that's besides the fact.
So what he's come out and said to his attorneys is they can't go back and retry him because of double jeopardy. But he's concerned about if it does come back positive. He's got a parole hearing coming up in I think his next parole hearing is in 2017. He's worried about what happens if it does come back with his DNA on it when he goes to his parole hearing.
Yeah,
if that's true, he's in for the full 30 years.
Okay, even with that, had they had that knife during that trial, I'm not sure that jury still would have convicted because there would be enough.
But they still had blood on the Bronco.
Right, they had everything else. So there's
blood
some doubt
really
in these people's mind. Right, so.
But isn't that a police officer obstructing justice when he's holding on to that piece of evidence?
That's what I'm saying. That guy should go to jail.
Yeah, no, he definitely did.
Put the blame on that guy. Shoot.
And even the guy who took home the the bloody shoes. They showed that in the episode last night. He took them home, and so the defense was like, you drove home with OJ's shoes in your car, and he said yes. He says, have you ever done it with any other evidence ever? No. I mean, how many mistakes can be made?
All credibility out the freaking window. So if you have not been watching the new OJ show on FX, highly encourage you to watch it. Very entertaining, amazing acting, really fun. We're going to head to a break, but we talked about uncovering this night. We want to talk about uncovering some of the hidden value in your home when it comes time to sell. We're going to talk with Bryan, Koci, media manager at Whissel Realty, about how to do that. You're listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170, The Answer.
Kept you waiting there too long, my love.
AM 1170 The Answer and AM 1170 The Answer.